It's an interesting one, Rob. I think I was fortunate to always be encouraged to paint and draw and make things from a very early stage, the beginning. So it was just within family life. And I always enjoyed visiting the galleries, and I suppose, like most other people in Scotland, you're very familiar with the Scottish colourists and the Joan Airdley side of Scottish life and those Eastern views and everything, and obviously that's wonderful. But I specifically remember, and I think it was about 1995-ish, it was the time of the Young British Artists, and I was just a young person. I hadn't even gone to art school then. And I remember Edinburgh was flooded with these really interesting, and for me, it was completely new pieces of art. And obviously there was the Damien-Hirst and all, it was all sort of eye-catching. But one in particular I remember really stood out to me, and it was in the City Art Centre, and I went back time and time again. The people running the art centre must have thought, oh, who she is again. I just couldn't get enough of it, and it was installation work by their twins, the Wilson sisters, and what it really brought home to my creative imagination was that they combine physical spaces with photography and sound, and you really immerse yourself into an experience. And I just all of a sudden started to realise that's what art is all about. It's just, you feel it running through your body. And I think from that point on, I always loved painting. Painting just has been my thing. But as I mentioned, I also just love making things. I love everything to do with creativity. And yeah, that made a huge impression on me. And I think from that point on, that was really me at the end of my schooling, making decisions for what I was going to do next. And I think the young British artists really inspired me as to, I don't want to be an installation artist. I'm not really clued up about photography and film, but it really flooded my imagination, definitely. And so then I went on to art school to Duncan of Jordanston, and I kind of always had a really practical focus of how are you gonna make a living. So I studied interior design there, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I think I also have to say I really just loved the art school experience. I loved nipping into all the other departments and getting a taster of what everybody does. And it was just everywhere that you turned, everyone's minds were working and they were just creating, and it was just wonderful. And I ended up painting my entire degree show actually, and every now and again I think about that, because I remember on the degree show night overhearing a few people saying, you know, it's lovely, and I loved it. It was like she should go and do drawing and painting, and I was like, still so young, but I was like, I really kind of would like to do that, but my mind is telling me I really should go and work, and I had done well, and so I was confident I was going to get a good job and move on. And so I worked in design for quite a number of years, but I always kept on drawing, life drawing and painting, and just kept it all going. And then I actually became very ill a few years ago, and I discovered I had pancreatic cancer. And for me, actually, I'm very fortunate that I've had the surgery and the treatment, and in a really weird way, I know this sounds funny, I feel lucky in some ways I've had it, because it's really changed my outlook on life. And it's those weeks of, even after the surgery, and I'm waiting for results in hospital, I can even take myself back to those stages and thinking, you're slightly tunneled back from real life, and it makes you reassess. I don't know how much longer I've got because I haven't got my results yet. Either way, why have I always held myself back with putting what I do out there? Because actually, I'm just being shy about it. And actually, what's the worst that can happen? I'm still going to do it, but maybe I could just show more people what I do. Yeah, so for me it was a bit of a wake-up call, and that's what really pushed me out as far as, oh, I'd like to show people what I do now, rather than in the past people have often seen what I've done, and I've sold some pieces that way. But so that really changed everything for me. And also I feel through the painting and what I do, I enjoy day to day, no matter what the weather. It's always a good painting day. And I think living in Scotland, I'm lucky that we get such changeable weather, because for me, it's super interesting to paint.